Thing else. Don't mind my eyes, y'all. Sensitive to soap and water, and I just hopped out the shower, so my eyes are bloodshot red from washing my face. Before we even get started, let me just, I said I want to smoke for this episode, but let me just smudge myself and smudge the room with some Palo Santo because I want to make sure that the energy is peaceful. I want to protect my own energy. I want to protect the energy throughout this dialogue. And we'll just bring forth some positive energy, some loving energy, some productive energy, some cleansing energy. All right. So let's get that out the way. And let me start here with the recording on my back office for my streaming listeners, and we will get started. Okay. All right. So, welcome to the Cool Weirdos Podcast. I am your host, Asha Cerise. The Cool Weirdos Podcast is my brand. Cool Weirdos is my brand. Weirdo is an acronym for while everyone is replicating, demonstrate originality. It is for all the unique individuals who are free thinkers and free spirited and march to the beat of their own drum, as like myself, as in the person you see right before you. And it's all about healing, self-love, self-discovery. We talk about love, relationships, and trending topics. So I want to invite you all to make sure that you are following me on Instagram at Asha Cerise, OSHACERESE. On Facebook, facebook.com/Asha Cerise, OSHACERESE. And the page on Facebook is facebook.com/I am Asha Cerise. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/at Asha Cerise. And, I'm on TikTok at Asha Cerise. Anywhere you see a platform, I'm going to be on there at Asha Cerise. So make sure you are tapped in with me. Make sure you are subscribed. If you like to listen to the playback, forgive me, y'all. The past two episodes are not up yet on the streaming platforms such as Apple Podcast and Spotify and places like that, wherever you listen to your podcast. But it will be. I'm going to sit down and make sure that that's uploaded, those two episodes, as well as the one we are currently recording. So make sure that you are following me on those platforms as well. I believe you can follow me on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So, and again, remember, I am a life coach. If you would like coaching services to guide you or support you through your healing journey, through your self-discovery journey, through your self-love journey, or just work with you with your personal accountability, work-life balance, whatever it is that you need coaching on, or how to monetize or utilize your gifts, how to show up on social media, how you can monetize the things that you already do naturally, book a session. That is in my link. That's in my bio. So I'm going to just get on down to the nitty-gritty of the topic for today. And it is the disconnect and disrespect in the Black community. And I just want to start off by saying that I am pro-love. Oh, first of all, before we even get into that, happy Black History Month. I know we celebrate Black history all year, all the time. So it's not that we are limiting ourselves to learning about our history in this month, but whatever we have right now, let's celebrate it. So happy Black History Month. Also, shout out to my best friend, TJ Allen, the Soul Lifter. Today is his 37th birthday. Happy birthday, bro. Love you, sending you good vibes. I hope you're enjoying yourself. And shout out to me as well, because today marks my 4-year anniversary of when I left my career as a nurse to pursue my dreams and to go on my own deep self-discovery journey and figure out what I want to do with my career path. And that's how I became a certified life coach, and how I started pouring into doing programs and workshops for adults who want to be on their healing journey as well. You already know, since 2012, I've been doing youth enrichment programs. So I have been doing those virtually for the past few years, but I'm getting back into doing those in person. So I'm excited about that. But this is my 4-year anniversary from leaving the 9 to 5. So I'm proud of me. I'm sticking it out, the ups and the downs, because baby, it is a wild ride. So I just wanted to shout those things out first. And back to the subject at hand. So the title of tonight's show is The Disconnect and Disrespect in the Black Community. And I wanted to start off with first setting the tone, because I am pro-love, I am pro-black, I am pro-black love. I want to make mention and honor and uplift and make sure the black men who, just black men in general, just to know that you are loved, know that you are appreciated, that you are respected, that you matter, that, you know, there is no beef. There is no beef. I want to say that right now. I ain't got no beef, but I do got some smoke. So tonight I'm going to be talking about things that are contributing to the detriment of us being loving towards one another. And I'm going to have to call out both men and women. So do not look at it as male bashing. Do not look at it as one-sided, because we're going to have to dig deep into some of these issues that we have. And everybody can get it. Anybody can get it. It's not just on one of us. It's not just on women. It's not just on men. So I think I saw a comment here, but I don't see it anymore, from Broken Traditions. And that is actually how I wanted to start off tonight's show, with saying thank you for inviting me to speak at this panel this past weekend. I really appreciate you taking the time to reach out to me, because you know that I talk about love and relationships, and really intentional dating for the most part. And the conversation was surrounding the topic of relationships. The actual topic was the state of relationships. And as I said that night, I will say it right now, the state of relationships. And as I'm talking tonight, I'm talking about black people. So just to clear it up, I'm only referring to black love, black relationships, black people. So I hope that's not flag worthy on these social media sites, because it's almost like you can't talk about race without that being an issue. But I'm talking about black people. So the state of relationships, in my opinion, is in a state of emergency. And what I mean by that is it's getting real out here. And I'm not gonna lie, like, it happens to me every now and then. Like, every now and then I'll see these topics and they'll be really heavy. And I'm an empath, y'all. And I know a lot of people say that and they use that term loosely, but I literally absorb energy from people, from situations, from discussions. Like, I can feel the heaviness of it. And the heaviness that I feel about where we are as a community and how we have such disdain with each other, it's really heavy, and it makes me sad. Like, I've literally been sad this week about the state of our relationships with each other, black men and black women. So back to the event. I'm gonna start off with the good, but I'm gonna have to say some things that bothered me that occurred at the event. And this is no disrespect to the event, the host, the place where it was held, or any of the people that had an opinion, or anyone. I ain't gonna say anyone personally, because there's a couple people that I do plan to call out personally, but it's no offense. As far as what I have to say is not coming from a place of malice. It's just coming from a place of, this is how I received what you said. So to start off, I appreciate being a part of that type of dialogue, because it was a room full of black people. Seemed like it was more of like a late 30s, early 40s and up crowd. But I do appreciate being invited and being a part of that conversation, because I think and I believe wholeheartedly that these conversations need to be had. Um, One of the things that stood out to me was the it was one of the first questions that were asked, or one of the first topics that were put out there for the audience and all of us on the panel to kind of discuss. And it was about how important is education when it comes to what type of partner you choose. So there was a young lady who was probably maybe my age or around my age. I would say she's probably in her 30s. I'm 34. So she said that I think she said that she's educated. I don't know if she said she had a degree or not. I can't remember. But she said that she wants a partner who is educated. And she specified by educated, I'm not necessarily talking about degrees. I'm just saying someone who has exposure, someone who can teach me something, someone who can put me on to something. And baby, the crowd went wild. The crowd cut up. And most of the response to her was that, she could be missing out on a great partner because she's judging them based on their level of education or exposure. She needs to accept them where they are. That's the problem now. People are not accepting people where they are. And it was just mind-boggling and mind-blowing to me why are so many people upset about someone's personal preferences? Why does that make someone upset about someone saying what they want for themselves? That's number one. Number two, I didn't think that that was an unreasonable request. She didn't say that the man for her has to be a rocket scientist or a PhD scholar. She said that he has to have some type of exposure. And what I received from that is that she wants a man that has, an abundant mindset, that is not just limited and confined to their surroundings, that is willing to evolve, that can, again, like she said, teach her something. Who wouldn't want those qualities in their partner? And I think it's toxic to use the terms accept people where they are when it comes to that situation, because there's a difference between being in a relationship with someone and being committed to someone, and the process of dating and the process of vetting someone that you're trying to figure out if that person is for you. So if she is in the vetting process and she already knows that this is what she desires, then it makes sense that if she meets a man and he's like very limited on what he knows, what he's seen, what he even wants to do in life, that she would say, you know what, that's not the man for me, and keep it moving. But maybe if she was in a relationship with someone, she's already known this about them and she chose to be with them, and then all of a sudden she outgrows them and decides to leave them right away without any type of effort to try to work that out, that's a different story. But even then, that's to her discretion as well. I think those type of responses to someone having certain standards is like contradictory to the response certain people have when people do make a decision to settle on their standards. For an example, if she says that she wants a man who's educated and exposed and all of these things, and she decides to waver on those standards just so she can say, I have a man, I'm gonna get a partner, I'm not gonna worry about it, I'm gonna just meet him where he is, he ain't talk about nothing, he doesn't have anything to offer me, he doesn't even really, can't even hold a good conversation because he's not on my level of intellect, or whatever that looks like for her. And she gets with the man and the relationship is miserable, or she gets with the man and she decides to have this man's children and it's, a lack relationship. The children are not being exposed to anything. She's miserable. The kids are miserable. Guess what everybody gonna say to her? You should have chose better. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. Somebody's gonna always have something to say about having standards or settling. You should have chose better. That's your fault. It's always gonna, I ain't gonna say it's always. Some people's perspective always leads back to it's the woman's fault. And that's what I've been seeing, a recurring theme, that it's the Black woman's fault. I think other than all of this talk online, which is all day, every day, and even in my personal friendship, certain things are coming up about black women this, black women that. Um, I don't watch the news, and I saw that someone, I don't even know the guy's name, don't even care to know it. Some dude got on the news and said that with this recent tragedy with Tyree Nichols, that it boils back down to people, men being raised by single mothers. So even a heinous crime being committed by 5 men on an innocent man, or I haven't watched the video, I don't know why he got pulled over or whatever, but how horrible that crime was, he still managed to blame it on black women, or multiple black women. So it's just like, that's heavy to always hear that, and you are a black woman. So that was one of the conversations that was had at the event that I thought was interesting, that everyone was so upset about her saying that she wanted a man with some type of exposure or education. The second thing was that came up often was the traditional woman versus the modern woman. And I also said that at the event, I find it that sometimes some men contradict themselves when it comes to what they want as far as traditional versus modern. It's like they want to take the best out of each. And one of the men there clarified, he said he does feel like it should be a balance, but you often hear that these certain men, that they want the traditional woman with the, you cook, you clean, you nurture, you're feminine, you're submissive, you do all of these things, you take care of the children, you manage the home and all of that. But then they want to pull out the modern part of, you contribute to the bills, you work as well. So that can be contradictory sometimes, because it's like, if you want the traditional woman, you can have that, but then do you want to be in a traditional role as a man? Traditional role meaning the breadwinner, the one that brings in the money, the one that leads and takes care of decisions and all of that. So that came up, and I think that that's a conversation that we can continue to have to clarify, because it seems kind of confusing. Do you want traditional or do you want modern? The other conversation is having preferences for a particular body type considered body shaming. And this was another crowd stirrer upper. The crowd cut up when this conversation was brought to the room, because the way it was presented was, if a woman doesn't date short men, is that considered body shaming? I instantly said, no, that's not considered body shaming. Just like a man who doesn't want to date an overweight woman is not considered body shaming. And boy, did the crowd go wild again. And I didn't really get a chance to clarify what I was saying on the mic. I kind of said it to a few people that were in my vicinity. But what I mean by that is, there's a difference between saying, in regular conversation or whatever, I prefer to date tall men, and as opposed to saying to a short man, you're too short for me. Being short, you ain't man enough for me. You're not worthy. You're ugly because you're short. Same as if a man just says in regular conversation, I prefer to date fit women. That's a difference between looking at a woman that's big and saying, you're fat, you're worthless, I hate the way you look, it's nasty, you look sloppy. That's body shaming. Body shaming is, directed at that person to say something shameful or negative about whatever their body part or body size or frame is that you don't like. But having a preference, why does that trigger so many people's insecurities? If you are a short man and you see some women saying that they prefer men that are over 6 feet, or, they don't date shorter men, don't let that trigger you. Just know that that's not the woman for you. I'm a tall woman. If I see a man saying that they don't like tall women or they don't date tall women, I'm not going to allow that to bother me. I'm just going to find a man or interact with a man who likes tall women. As a bigger woman, don't allow anybody to break you down or break your confidence down. If they want a fit woman, there's plenty of men who love BBWs. Find you one. It's some men that don't like slim women. Don't get offended. Just find you a man that does. So I don't understand why people's personal preferences are so triggering to other people. I think it can be if it's presented in a certain way, because I wasn't aware that certain men are actually being told, you know, you're too short for me. So that came up in conversation as well. One of the men said that he's told, you're too short, but if he was to say you're too wide, it would be a problem. And I get that, because that is a lot. Like I may have thought that about a man, that they're too short for my liking or for my taste or desire, but I don't find it necessary to tell them that. I'm not going to say, I'm not dating you because you're too short. That's just me. So if people are saying that, find something else to say. I don't think that I guess it's being honest, but sometimes honesty can be brutal. So I don't know. And then if you have met a good man and you've already accepted the fact that he's a certain height, don't allow that to be the determining factor of you not being with him because he's shorter. But if you are meeting them for the first time and you already know that that's not what you want, just find another way to let somebody down. People are real sensitive. But it goes both ways. You can't be so sensitive that you hate everybody because you've been rejected by, a couple of women or a couple of men that don't like your body type. People try to body shame me all the time about my shape, my flat butt, or whatever else they try to say. I just hurry them on along. So I said this at the event. I said that the room was like a reflection of how relationships are nowadays between black men and black women. And by that, I mean, everyone is talking at each other. Nobody's listening. Everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants their perspective to matter, but nobody else's perspective matters or is not being received. And there was something that came up that I wasn't too fond of. I ain't gonna lie, it kind of ticked me off. So again, I must have not read the room too properly because, haters gonna hate. I didn't read the room well enough, I guess. When I was invited to be on the panel, I didn't really know what to expect. I've never been to this venue. I don't know these people. They're like, it's a cigar bar, so this is a venue that they frequent often. A lot of them knew each other, and they were, like I said, maybe late 30s or early 40s plus. And so most likely I was the youngest in the room, which I really didn't realize because the way we were seated was kind of off in a corner. So I couldn't see everybody in the room, or I wasn't really paying attention to everybody in the room. But I was making a point as I was speaking, and I needed to, in my opinion, I needed to share my age to make the point that I was making. So I was like, I'm 34 years old. And I noticed that after I said that, it seemed like the room closed down to anything that I had to say after that. And one woman in particular, she started her sentence off with, I want to say this and I don't want you to be offended. I don't want you to take offense. But to me, it was offensive because she said, I am a 52-year-old woman and I'm seasoned. I have a daughter your age. I believe there was a motion like this that was done. And I just felt like that was very inappropriate and dismissive. And I feel like it shouldn't matter because, first of all, I have clients her age. So even though she's an older woman, she's older than me, I am still a grown woman. And my perspective shouldn't be invalidated because I'm younger than you, because there was a reason why I was invited to be on this panel, because my perspective is valued. So I felt like that was inappropriate for her to say. I didn't receive that well at all. If I had a mic in my hand at the moment, I probably would have said something. But I really think that that's another issue that we have in our community as we're talking about the disconnect and disrespect in the Black community. The generational disconnection. That interaction was a reflection on how a lot of our parents and grandparents can be when we as new generations that are coming, I'm speaking about millennials, Even Gen Z, we are trying to break generational curses, and we're trying to do things differently, and we're trying to heal, and we're trying to show different perspectives. We're trying to respect people more. We're trying to break down oppression in different forms, or however it's showing up, and misogyny and all of these different things, whatever. And the older generation doesn't want to hear it, because from where they are, the generation they're from, the elders are the only ones that are um respected enough to teach somebody. They don't want to hear what nobody younger than them has to say. And I think that that's unfortunate. And I think that even if it was in a room full of 30 something year olds, if a 21-year-old young lady would have stood up or got the mic and shared her perspective, I would have not shut her down or invalidated her perspective, because she has experiences. And if her conversation and what she has to say is valuable to the conversation, then there's no need to say, oh, well, you haven't lived enough, or, you don't know what you're talking about. Wait until you grow. Don't do that. We all grown in the room. Everybody's perspective matters. Please do not address me. So that's what I want to say on that. The keys has destroyed what respect is. I'm gonna need you to. Oh, the media has destroyed what respect is. Yeah. Okay. You please elaborate on that. That's a comment from my Instagram for my YouTube listeners and my Spotify and Apple Podcast listeners from zdog.official. So yes, that's what I wanted to say about that. And I saw that not just from the woman who spoke up, but I saw the energy, how the energy shifted in the room for a lot of the other people, because the things that I was saying, when somebody says something, you might get some feedback, you might get some applause or something. Baby, it was crickets. From the time they found out I was 34, everything I had to say, it was silence afterwards. But then there were other people that were saying the exact same things that I was saying, and they were getting a round of applause, which is fine. I wasn't mad. I felt like whatever I had to say, I was there to say it, and whoever it was supposed to reach and whoever was to receive that received it, because it wasn't just the people in the room, it was also being streamed on multiple platforms. And I was approached and told by a man who was 52 and a woman who was in her 50s as well, that they enjoyed my perspective. They received what I had to say. They wanted me to keep going. And they also told me that, when I did share my age, a lot of people are closed off to hearing insight from those who are younger than them. And they were just like, don't even share your age, which I received what they said. But I also think that it's sad that we shut down people who are younger than us or invalidate the perspectives. Even like, as I said before, I was a nurse for 10 years, and like in the medical field, you got your seasoned doctors, your old school doctors that's been doing it, and they have all this experience, and they have, the knowledge that they had then when they got their license to be a doctor and to practice as a doctor. They kind of have the great information and the experience, but some of their information is out. And some of the new doctors that just graduate, they may not have all the experience. They may not have the perfection and precision and the skills just yet, but they have the updated information. They have perspectives that might be different, that might be able to help someone, save someone's life. So don't count out people, and don't miss the message judging the messenger. So zdog.official says, basically the media has been giving loud, ratchet women and ignorant men speaking down on positivity and platform and paying them to spread ignorance. That could be. I wouldn't doubt that. I definitely wouldn't doubt that. So what did I want to talk about after this? Oh, speaking of that. So speaking of that, I also have noticed that there is a new wave. I thought it was just a couple of guys here and there, because I see it on my timeline on Facebook and social media. The passport bros. I didn't know. I saw it. I've been seeing it, but I didn't know that there was such an outrage about it. The passport bros are, again, I'm only speaking about Black people. I know that there's some other races that are involved with this, but I'm talking about Black people today. The passport bros are Black American men who are choosing to go to other countries to find love, to find wives, to find girlfriends, because they feel as though the women in other countries are more feminine, more soft spoken, more submissive, more in line with what they want in a woman. They find that they cannot find that, or they feel that they cannot find that in America, especially with Black American women. I got to stop my recording over here and restart it. So they are deciding to leave America and the ratchet, masculine, unattractive, low quality. These are some of the terms that I've been hearing them say. Low quality, of unappreciative women here in America, and they're deciding to travel abroad and find them a wife in another country. So I heard about this and I didn't think nothing of it. The only thought that I had was, if you are having trouble with your relationships within the country, and if you think the only solution is for you to go to another country and then your luck and love is just going to be perfect, it's possible. But it's also possible that you will realize that you're still you. So whatever issues that you've had that you haven't tried to correct or enhance or evolve in or heal from, you're taking that baggage with you to another country, and you can find love within that woman, but then she's still a woman. Even though she's from a foreign country, she's different. She's still a woman, so she may have the same issues with you eventually, or maybe not. These are just possibilities. That was the only thing that I thought about it, but I didn't really put any energy into it. But I'm recently finding out that the men who are passport bros or feel like they want to be passport bros, they feel like us as Black women are in trouble, in danger, mad, and upset that they are doing this. And then, to my surprise, I haven't seen anybody upset about it, but there's all kind of videos saying that there are women, Black women, who are upset about it or are putting out energy to be upset with the Black men for doing this. So my message to any Black women who feel like they are upset about a Black man doing that, let it go. Like, don't put your energy into being upset about anybody doing that. That's their right. And furthermore, if this person feels like they don't have any luck or they don't see any beauty in you or any desire from you, they don't desire you, they don't like you, they don't love you, they don't respect you, they don't value you, why are you upset that they're going somewhere else to love and be loved? That shouldn't upset you at all. And you should want somebody that wants you too. And the people that are deciding to do that, they don't want you. And that's okay. Or maybe they do want you and you don't want them. So what would be the point of getting upset about it? And furthermore, the same option is available to you. I know us as Black women, we are very, I'm not going to say we, a lot of us are very loyal and committed to being with Black men, Black American men. Some of us will venture out to other ethnicities or nationalities, but stick with the race. So you might date a Black man from the Caribbean, a Black man from Africa, a Black man from England, or wherever, but you're still staying within the Black community. If you want to explore that option too, the option is available to you. And a lot of Black women are choosing to do that. And everybody has the right to do that. They're exploring love outside of America. They're not limiting themselves to the dating options that are available here. And I support whatever people need to do for love. Like I said in the beginning, I'm pro-Black, I'm pro-love, I'm all of that. But at the same time, we have one life to live here on this earth that we know of. So if you feel like you're ready to be loved and to love someone, and you feel that you can be seen and appreciated and valued and loved by somebody outside of this country, go for it. We are not limited to the borders of this country. If you have the ability to get a passport, the means to travel, and an open heart, and you're making sure that you're safe, go out there and explore. There's nothing wrong with that, and it shouldn't be upsetting. The only issue that I have when it comes to the passport bros or any woman that feels like they want to do that, let's stop generalizing each other and making it out as if we are a monolith. Passport bros and men, whoever, please stop grouping all Black women into this category, and stop feeling like you have to down or trash or belittle or insult or degrade women who look like your mom and your sister or your daughter to uplift another woman from another country. All you the possibilities are endless for your love life. There's nothing offensive about saying, I love the way this woman from Dominican Republic made me feel. I love the women in Asia. I love the way they look. I love the way they are submissive, the women that I've encountered, because they're not a group, they're not a monolith either. The women that I've encountered in these countries have made me feel this way. There's nothing offensive about that. But when you go to say, oh, the Black women in America don't ever do this, they're not like that, like, please stop comparing. And women, if you're doing it, stop that shit. Like, stop degrading Black men to uplift other people. If you're having good experiences outside of America or outside of your race, just talk about that and share that. You don't have to degrade a man. I don't go for that. Like, that's the only issue. A lot of people think that the problem is that somebody has an issue with you dating outside of your race or trying other things, and it's not that. It's the fact that you find it necessary to tear down and degrade Black people and Black women. So that's my issue with that. And this goes into the next thing that I occurred. All of these things that have kind of been bothering me this week about the disconnect and disrespect in the Black community have happened this week. It's been happening, but it's like, it seemed like it's just been heightened this week. I'm not even telling y'all all of the things, but another thing is I ended up rolling up on somebody's Facebook post yesterday or the day before. And this particular guy, he's a Black man, Black American. He posts often about Black women in a negative way. He perpetuates the stereotypes and the worst parts of Black women and the negative things and the single woman talk, the red pill manosphere type talk. That's him all day long up and down the timeline. So he decides to make a post that says, Happy Black History Month to only the sexy, feminine ladies, Black ladies. I didn't find that to be offensive, even though I knew he meant it in a petty way to stir up some shit. The thing that bothered me is when I went to the comments, the first comment was a man of European descent. And he commented a GIF, I think that's how you say it. I want to say GIF, but I think it's pronounced GIF, of a bigger Black older woman, like a mammy type image, doing some ghetto stuff. Like, she had a robe on and she was making like this little ghetto movement. And I'm thinking, you really letting that slide? Like, so I made a comment, and I'm gonna tell you why I should have just minded my Black business in a minute. But my comment was, do you see what happens when you publicly go in on your own women? Other people feel comfortable enough to make a mockery. And then I said, Willie Lynch would be so proud of us. Happy Black History Month. Why did I open up that can of worms? Do you know, not just him, but 2 or 3 of his comrades, all Black men. One, his profile said he was from Ghana. they got on my ass. They dragged me. They went off on me. They told me that I was wrong. They told me that I need to be in my place, that I don't need to be trying to check men. I need to keep women accountable. There's nothing wrong with stating their preferences. And I'm like, I didn't say anything was wrong about stating your preferences. I'm saying the fact that you're always saying something negative about your own women, it hasn't rolled out the red carpet and given the green light to someone of a different culture to come in and make a mockery, and you're sitting up here laughing with him. And I just found that to be odd. And I'm like, I wonder if other cultures and nationalities and ethnicities of men would welcome you as a black man with open arms to say something or to post something that is mocking their women. I wonder would they laugh with you? And not only did they not correct the man, like I wasn't looking for him to like cuss his friend out, because he said he's known the guy since school or whatever. I wasn't looking for him to cuss him out or anything like that. But all I know is, me personally, I might get into it with black men online or whatever. I try not to be disrespectful. We can go back and forth all day, but what I'm not going to do is allow a woman, a non-melanated woman or a woman of any other descent, to come and join the conversation and say anything that, or say or post anything negative about black men. You're not going to do it on my post. So I just felt that that was odd, and that was my bad. That was my fault for thinking or assuming or wanting someone to react in a way that I would have. I would have never allowed anybody to come and make a mockery of a black man under my post. I don't care what you see me talking about. This ain't your conversation to get involved in. So not only did they not correct the European man, they defended him, and they said that it was no problem with it because this is the image that black women put out about themselves. So the other people see it anyway, so there's no sense of correcting them when they comment about it. It's just me, I guess. I just find that to be interesting. But the man from Ghana, he had a lot to say to me about me having a perspective or an opinion. And when I asked, would other men of other cultures allow you all to say something that's of negativity about their women, his response was, other cultures would beat y'all. No, he said, other cultures would whip y'all asses into submission. So to me, that means you're mad now and you wish you could beat my ass because I have an opinion. And you basically just telling me that you lucky you're not a part of another culture, because you would be getting your ass whipped into submission. And to me, anything or anyone that has to be beat into submission doesn't want to be there. That sounds more like slavery than a relationship or than a connection with men and women. And someone gave a great point that some of these guys who, feel like a woman is to be controlled. I understand submission and allowing a man to lead. But they're not talking about that. They're talking about control and possessiveness and, commanding respect where it's often not due. They are not looking to tear down the system of oppression. They're looking to replace the oppressors. They admire the power that these European men have, and they want that. And the only person or people that they can get that over is black women. And so that's where a lot of these energies and attitudes and conversations are just being so degrading and offensive, because they're not looking to connect. A lot of them are saying, oh, we're doing this to hold women accountable and to make our community better. But it's detrimental. It's not coming from a place of love. You're not saying this because I love my sisters so much. I don't want to see you all continue to choose the wrong men and continue to have children with men that don't love you and don't care for you and don't commit to you. It's not that. It's just, oh, single mothers are the problem. Oh, you've been ran through. You got too many bodies. You this, you that. It's not coming from a place of love. Therefore, it's not being received. And therefore people are getting pushback. And again, Um, you don't have to me, this whole I'm holding women accountable. It doesn't feel like holding women accountable. It just seems like, and I'm saying this from really, oftentimes it's an outside view, because a lot of the things that the men are complaining about don't really apply to me. I'm not a single mother. Um, I'm not ratchet. There are certain things that don't necessarily apply to me, but it still becomes offensive because I am a black woman, and I can only imagine how any black woman that can relate to the things that they are saying and constantly degrading and pointing out, I can just imagine how heavy that feels, because it feels heavy to me, and it doesn't even apply to me. So if you really are doing it or saying it to try to, for the betterment of our community, then your delivery would be different. Then your messaging would be different. It doesn't feel like it's coming from a place of love at all. It's coming from a place of disdain. And I'm noticing that a lot of the guys who push this narrative and this rhetoric, I'm gonna be honest, this is not male bashing. This is just from the perspective of me seeing, hey cousin, this is just the perspective of me seeing the men that I personally see talking about it. That means that I've seen their content, I've looked through their pages, I know them personally, things like that. A lot of these men are men that have experienced hurt, or they have tried to get with a woman that they desire, and they're not getting the same energy back, and they become bitter about it. I'm gonna just keep it real. And then all of a sudden, it's not just an issue with that woman, it's an issue with all women. And the same thing happens with women. I'm not saying that it doesn't. It does. There's a lot of bitter women that have been hurt, that have been done wrong, that have tried to get men that don't want them back, and now they're mad at all men. All of the men fit in the same category. So a lot of that boils down to, you don't the hard truth is, you can't have everybody you want. And I feel like a lot of people can't handle the reality of that. I see a lot of men talking about, ever since Kevin Samuels came out with the, you're a 5 at best, and they see these women that they feel like they don't fit the description of a woman that should have such high standards for what type of man that she wants. And that's perspective, that's a subjective perspective, but the same can apply to some of the men. I'm noticing that a lot of men feel like if they want a woman, that woman must want them back. If I like you and I want you, you have to accept me. You have to want me back. You have to love me, or you're a bitch, you're a hoe, you ain't shit. Oh well, all these women ain't about I've seen it with my own eyes, y'all. I'm not making this up. And we need to do better with being able to handle rejection, because again, everybody you want might not want you. And I talked about this before on a conversation a few weeks ago. A lot of men think that when they get money, when they reach a certain tax bracket, that means that they have access to any woman they want, really. And that's not always the case. You might be able to get the woman that you desire, or somebody that looks good on your arm, for a date or for a moment, but they also have to like you. The women that you're choosing in those positions, the bad bitch or whatever that you want on your arm, she also has a plethora of options, so she might not choose you. Or if it's a woman that, she might not even have as many options, but you have the money, but you lack the confidence. You have the money, but you're not fun to be around. You have the money, but you don't have a likable personality. You have the money, but you're lacking in other areas. So people aren't putting in the time for personal development and emotional intelligence and building confidence and even valuing a woman. If you can have all the money in the world and be fine as hell and be in the great package and everything, but if you don't like and respect and value the women that you're trying to get, a woman that has any type of confidence or high self-esteem or self-worth, it's not going to last long. So there has to be more than just the money. And then there's the men that don't have the money or may not have the looks, or have looks and don't have the money or whatever. And they just feel like they're supposed to be able to have whatever they want. And because they haven't had success in those efforts to try to get the woman they want, they're bitter and they're mad. And it shows. And I can hear the deep pain. Like, I can feel the energy and I can hear the pain in some men's voices when they talk about how it hurts them that women don't like them because they're not tall. And everybody can make jokes about that and everything, but I understand that I can never understand it from their perspective, but I feel that that is very painful for a lot of men who don't have, the 6 foot description. I literally, when I hear them talk about it, I can hear the pain in their voices, that that's something that they've had to deal with their whole lives, and there's literally nothing they can do about it. But again, that doesn't mean that someone has to like it or has to accept it. It's just it's like something that you have to accept yourself. If you're a shorter man, you have to accept that every woman might not want that. And instead of getting mad at them about that, or feeling a type of way, or being bitter about it, or putting everybody in a box that they can all go to hell, you have to know that you are worthy anyway. You deserve to have love. You deserve to be loved. And the woman that's going to love you is going to love you regardless of your height. I know that's easier said than done, but it definitely takes healing work, just like it does for women who are, I keep bringing this up. I know it's different. Women that are overweight can lose weight, but a lot of women, you're dealing with self-esteem issues because you're placing your worth in what type of man wants you or will accept you. You got to do the work for you to love yourself. And if you want to be smaller, if you want to be more fit, you got to do it. I know men, you can't make yourself taller, but you can develop your confidence in other areas, and know that your worth does not lie in the hands of a woman. A lot of men, because again, I am a life coach, so I work with people and I'm seeing this firsthand. A lot of men's confidence can be, a woman can make or break their confidence. If a woman is not affirming them, if a woman is not accepting them, if a woman is not dating them, if a woman is not deciding to be in a relationship with them, if a woman is not attracted to them, their confidence is completely shot. And you cannot, confidence to me is just like happiness. You cannot rely on other people to provide it for you. It has to come from within. So that's just the healing work that has to be done when it comes to that. But I want to talk about the lesson that I learned from the situation yesterday when I was arguing with the people on Facebook about how he's so used to publicly shaming and criticizing and degrading Black women that other races of people are coming in to join the conversation and laugh with him. I had to do some self-reflecting after that, because first of all, I also wanted to mention rest in peace to my Uncle David. He just passed away last Friday. And I've been dealing with family drama. I've been dealing with a lot of things. So I was like on edge all week anyway. Like, I was just, heightened, highly sensitive, and easily triggered. I'm going to just say that about myself. So I put in energy into things that didn't serve me, and I can admit that. But the lesson I learned was that the same things that irritate me so much about the men that spend all day long criticizing and degrading Black women is the same thing that I'm doing as well. And what that is pouring attention into things that aren't necessarily productive or conducive to any type of positivity. Like, let me see how I can explain this. It irritates me that why are you spending all day long talking about women that you don't like, that you don't, that you feel are a detriment to the community? You're putting all your energy and pouring into that all day long, instead of like acknowledging the women that you do like, or uplifting people, or highlighting something that's positive. So it's irritating to me. But then here I am pouring my energy and my attention and my focus and my time going back and forth to try to give my opinion on why they shouldn't be doing that. So I realized that it's almost, I don't want to ever give, I always say I don't want to give up on love. I also don't want to give up on the Black community, but there are some things that I have to change. I can't continue to pour my energy, attention, and time into people who refuse to see anything outside of what they believe. So the same way that these men are spending all their time talking to women that they gonna continue to do what they gonna do, and they're all, and if they do make a change, it's not really going to be because you set up and degraded them all day long. It's going to be because they have their own light bulb moment that shows them and makes them realize that they need to make a change within themselves. And the same thing goes for me. I cannot sit up here and waste my energy. I can't sit up here and waste my energy into trying to talk to men who have already made their mind up about what they feel about Black women. It's not my responsibility to change their minds. And honestly, I'm talking and it's falling on deaf ears anyway. The things that were going on in that comment section of that post, it was like I was saying one thing and they were receiving something completely different. They can't hear me because they don't want to. So I'm not going to give up on the Black community, but I'm going to just shift the way I go about trying to contribute to bridging the gap between Black men and Black women. For one, I'm going to continue to pour that energy into myself, into my own healing, and reflect. Like I just said, I learned from this situation because we're all reflections of each other. So I was able to reflect on the things that I'm doing that aren't productive. I'm going to continue to pour into the youth. The youth they still have a chance. They haven't been swayed and traumatized as much as we have. They go through their own things as well, but they still have a chance to be able to know that they're worthy and know that they're beautiful and know how to show up as their best selves and know what to and not to accept in partners, in life, in connections and relationships and all of that. So I'm going to continue to pour into the youth. I'm going to continue to highlight, uplift, affirm, love, connect with, and be around men that are loving and that value me and Black women, that are protective, that are that desire to love and be loved by women, that value and appreciate and respect their mothers and their sisters and the women in their family, and they want our community to win. I'm going to continue to highlight, uplift, and acknowledge them. I'm going to continue to pour my energy into my clients because those are people who are actually showing up, that want to make the change, that want to evolve, that want to heal, that want to better themselves, that want to be held accountable and actually do something about it. So that's where my energy is going to go, and that's going to be my contribution to the healing of our community and to bridging the gap in our community. And I hope that it is received, and I hope that the men and women that are upset with each other, I hope that they can heal. I hope that they can continue to pour love to one another. I hope that we can start having more conversations and actually listen, because it's not a one-sided thing. There's not going to be anything solved. I know a lot of people, men are saying that women aren't listening. And it's true. A lot of women aren't listening, but there are some of us who do listen to you, but we also want to be heard as well. And it's a collaborative effort. You know, if you want to be with men, we're going to have to listen to what the men are saying and what they desire and what they want. But that also means that if they desire something that you don't possess, that doesn't mean that you're unworthy. It just means that you find you a man that likes the things that you have. And if you want to correct something, or if there's something you can adjust, do that if that's what you so choose. And the same with men. If you want to be with women, you also have to listen to what we desire as well. There are some things that we need from you all too. And it's not to bash you or not to degrade you or belittle you, but we also need things from you too. So you need to listen to us as well, so we can be desirable for each other. I gotta start my recording over, y'all. Um, so yeah, I just feel like I would love to continue to have conversations with people who are open-minded and people who actually care about the community, care about each other, value each other. And, we don't have to down and degrade each other to uplift anybody else. If you want to date outside your race, outside the country, outside of your own nationality and ethnicity, go for it. But you don't have to degrade anybody else. And if you do have some advice or some insight or something that you want better for our community, just share it with love. It will be received different. Someone mentioned in the post that I need to stop trying to check men and I need to hold women accountable. But I made it a point to say, Facebook is not real, y'all. We could have our conversations on Facebook and go back and forth and have these threads that go all day and all night. But I'm actually doing the work outside of just social media. So accountability is huge for me in my coaching sessions. That's what we do. We have to be held accountable. We got to talk about what are your contributions to some of the downfalls of your relationships. What are your contributions to some of the things that aren't going right in your life? And we talk about it and we do the work. So let's stop trying to act like everybody is not being held accountable. First of all, hold yourself accountable. Make sure you're doing the work and stop trying to hold everybody else accountable. And then check people outside of just online. There's life outside of social media. So, you can hold your friend and your family members and your colleagues and stuff accountable when you see something in a loving way. It don't have to be no confrontational way. We have to get comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations. It's growth. Yes, that's from Angelface_moon on Instagram. Absolutely. We definitely do. But as I wrap this conversation up, I'm gonna pull a self-love card. This is what I do at the end of each of my coaching sessions, and I like to do them at the end of each podcast. It's a self-love card and a self-reflection card. So our self-love card says, when do I feel my best? What am I wearing? What am I doing? Create that day for yourself as soon as possible. So whatever makes you feel your best, whatever makes you look your best, whatever you do when you feel your best, let's try to get that done sometime this week, y'all. That's a challenge for us. And our self-reflection card says, who do I feel most myself around? I love these questions. Who do I feel most myself around and why? Who makes you feel like yourself? And why does that person bring that out of you? And before I wrap up, I also wanted to make mention of, there are some things that go on in our community that contribute to the detriment, but also we have to consider the things that we've gone through. Some people may think of it as an excuse, but it's actual a reason. Like, we not too far out of slavery, y'all. It's just a couple of generations out of slavery. And we're still dealing with oppression. We're still dealing with racism. We're still dealing with all type of trauma as a community. The trauma that has been passed on from generations, the trauma that has been passed on from our ancestors. We have all of that. And then we have our own individual childhood trauma and relationship traumas. So I know a lot of men are looking for women to be feminine and submissive and nurturing and loving, but also have grace for some of these women, because some of these women don't even feel safe in their own bodies because they've been through so much trauma. Some of these women have defense mechanisms of putting up a wall and being in their masculine energy to protect themselves because they don't know what it feels like to be protected. They've never been protected before. Some women have hyper independence because they've never had a choice to not be. They've never had anyone take care of them. They've never had anyone to make them feel safe. They've never been loved properly. And no, I'm not saying that it's your responsibility to heal them, to be with them, to accept them, to be in a relationship with, but just have some grace for some of these women and also understand that a lot of these things are not one-sided issues. We talk so much about single mothers, but we lack the conversation about absent fathers. We're talking about, people getting pregnant and just being irresponsible. It's irresponsibility from everybody. People need to stop having children with people that they don't like, don't love, don't commit to, don't want to be with. If you don't like each other, you don't love each other, you don't have any commitment to each other, stop bringing children into the world. And that goes for men and women. These conversations should not be one-sided. Let's start having the conversation about everybody. And exactly what I just said about women and the traumas and all of the things that make them maybe not be as submissive and feminine. The same thing is with men as well. A lot of men have been hurt. A lot of men have been traumatized. There are men that have never even felt the love from their mother. There are men that had absent fathers that they have to figure it out on their own. They have to get their own mentors, and they have to find ways to become men. And so we have to give them grace as well, ladies. Not that you are responsible for healing them or being their savior or being their doormat while they're trying to figure themselves out, or that you have to be with them. But some of these men need grace too, and some of these men are hurting and they are suffering and they don't know where to start. So again, I encourage everybody to do some type of healing work, whatever that looks like for you. If you need therapy, stop being ashamed of it. Get you some therapy. Go lay on somebody's couch, get you a virtual session. I had one earlier, loved it. I have my therapy every 2 weeks like clockwork. It is needed, it is necessary. If you need a coach, I am available to help you with your self-discovery journey, to help you with your healing journey, to help you with inner child healing, past relationships, relationship trauma, healing from heartbreak, healing after the divorce, healing after toxic relationships. Those are my specialties. If you need someone to help you in that, please, I am available. Book a discovery call. The link is in my bio. And I'm just going to send you all some love and light. Again, I hope that nothing that I said offended anyone and that no one feels like I've been one-sided or bashing anyone, but this is just what I see and what I feel is wrong with what is causing the disrespect and the disconnect in our communities. If you came in late, it's going to be on my timeline here on Instagram. It's also going to be on YouTube, and the audio will be up this week. Please go back and play back and give me your comments, and I will be responding to them. And I'm going to wish you all a wonderful evening. All right. Have a good night. Talk to y'all later. Thank you for joining YouTube.